Hello everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to iRacing, where, yesterday I was racing the Formula Skip Barber. Now, the little Skippy, as we call it, is a fantastic little open-wheeler car, and a really good fun vehicle to have a bit of a drive around in. The Formula Skip Barber series is, I've got to say, it's one of my favourite to go racing in for open-wheeler. It is just really, really fun. So we are at Road America at the moment, and that's where we were racing last night, and I've been racing more in the Saturday Night Lights series. So track-wise, we're just coming up to turn number 3 now, so just coming on to the Moraine Straight now, so underneath the bridge here, so we'll just talk through a little bit of a lap here. So underneath the Moraine Bridge, so this is a big long straight Moraine sweep down towards turn 4 and 5. So there's a little bit of a kink here on the straight, and that goes down towards turn 5, which we'll get just now. And this is the hard left-hander. So braking down to second gear here, getting the car in, and just making sure not to run too wide to get the lap invalidated, just making sure to take as much road as possible. So we get that one perfect, up towards turn 6. This one's tricky because it's on a crest and it's very easy to lose the rear end of the car. The hurry down now, turn 7, this is pretty much a flat out corner. When your tyres are up to temperature, it's very easy to take, but when your tyres are a bit cold, especially on the first lap of a qualifying lap, it's a little bit tricky. Turn number 8 now. The kink towards the carousel, which is a long sweeping right-hander, so turns 9 and 10. Now, these corners, again, are pretty easy once the car's up to temperature, but when it's low temperature, you can see the back end just stepping out on me there in the beautiful little Tyrrell livery that I've got running today. So I was number 11 in the field, which means that I was one of the lower rated drivers. So effectively, the higher your I rating, the higher your number is. Now, that's the kink. That's a flat-out corner when you're fully up to temperature, but at that stage, we need to lift off the throttle just a little bit to get through. And finally, we're going to come down to Canada corner now. Right-hander, very easy to make a mistake here, very easy to get the car wrong in this section, and very easy to go off onto the kitty litter. Now up towards turns 13 and 13A, these are pretty much flat out. And then turn 14, the right-hander onto the straight. This is an important one to get right because you're getting onto a long straight uphill. So you want to carry that momentum up the hill so you can keep going. You can see the pit entry on the right-hand side there, and then it is the long straight up the hill now and across the line. And this lap was good enough to get me P4. So we were ranked P11 out of the field, so we were a very low I rating. And I managed to qualify in 4th position, which I was super stoked about. So the Formula Skip Barber, as I said, it's a really cool little car. It's an exciting little car, Formula 2000. 4-cylinder engine. It's very lightweight. It's got a nice little suspension system to it, 150 horsepower, and it's one of those series that, you know, has brought people like, well, I mean, it's the who's who of American motorsport. People like Andretti, Bell, Brack, Burton, Castroneves, Foyt, Gurney, from Pablo Montoya, Brian Herter, Jeff Gordon, Casey Kahn, all of those names raced in Formula Skip Barber, you know, and it's really one of those really fun cars to drive. So we're going to go to the race now. So we're starting in P4, as I said, car number 11. So we did pretty well in our qualifying. So if we actually... So, as I said, I'm pretty happy with that. And you don't want to be qualifying too far down the grid in skippers because you can end up running yourself into a bit of bother.
Yeah, good luck.
It's very easy for mistakes to happen. Now, I was in the 5th split effectively, and this was on Sunday. So the Sunday Night Lights series, which I'm trying to get a race in. Effectively, it's Top Split TV, and they record all of the top action racing for Split 1, and then they talk about Split 2. And it's usually got some of the strongest drivers out there as well. You know, the strength of field for the top end is up towards 4,500 I rating. My I rating is a lot lower, Coming into this race, I was about 800. So to give you an idea, that's pretty low. Below 1,000 in my road racing series. So on the ovals, I'm 1,500. You know, ovals a lot better. But when it comes to road racing, I'm below 1,000 iRating, which is quite low. Anyway, oh sorry, got talking there. We'll just rewind a little tiny bit. Okay, there we go. Let's get ready for the start of this race, and we'll talk you through the race, because that's something fun. So, start of the race. So the lights will come up and away we will go. And one thing that I am quite good at is a standing start. It's something I've always been really good at. It's just managing my clutch slip, just getting the car away neatly. And again, I get a really good start. Now, you're going to get a bit of drafting effect here, because it's such a long straight in this car, you get a little bit of that help from the draft. So we're right up there. I decided to lift off into this corner so that we can get through cleanly, because the tyres are cold and it's very easy to make mistakes. So just lifting off there to make sure a crash doesn't happen, because it's very easy for an accident to happen, especially if you're running too wide. So to catch up behind us, you can see people going in there, and it's very easy for a mistake to happen. Now, saying that, the field were actually pretty well behaved tonight. Somebody's gone off in the background, but there weren't too many incidents, which is nice. As I spill coffee down my shirt. Well done, Carl. So we get a really good run down towards the kink here. Decided to drop in behind the 15 here again. Not wanting to make a pass too early, because again, we can use the advantage of the slipstream to get past. And somebody's gone right off there, across the track, and there's a big accident. And that's the thing you've got to watch out for, people making mistakes around you. So it's more about survival than it is racing sometimes, especially in the early laps. Later on, people have settled in a little bit. But in the early stages of a race, you generally find people will make mistakes and they're more likely to go off, like the guy in front of us here. So we just skeep around that one. And all of a sudden, we're up into P2. So I was pretty happy about that, in all honesty. Keeping an eye on the guy behind us, because I was expecting to have a pretty tough race of it, because usually people are a bit faster than me in race spec. I tend to be decent in qualifying, but races I tend to struggle a little bit in, just because I tend to be better at the latter stages once I've settled. But the early stages I tend to struggle. So down to second gear here for Canada Corner. A little bit offline, but I'm just going very easy at the moment. I'm not pushing too hard. And that's something that I really wanted to make sure of. And I might just see if I can actually quickly... Okay, back to it. So the mirrors are now on. There we go. That will be a bit better when you cut to on board. So the guy in front of me was having a few ping issues. So his wing did not just fall off. That was just a server issue. He was just jumping all over the place, flying into the sky and then coming back, and then everything was fine. First lap done though, and 3 cars are pretty much out of it already. But we need to keep that car behind us about a second and a half away, so it doesn't get into our toe. Because if he gets into the draft, then he's going to have an easy time of overtaking us. The guy in front of me was about a second a lap quicker. To give you an idea of the difference of pace, the guy behind me,
in front of me
was definitely capable of going that bit faster, but just wasn't able to keep it as clean. So it was really just a thing about keeping the car as consistent and clean as possible, and that was my goal of the race. And spoiler warning, I managed to 0x this race, which I'm super proud of.
A sorry or something
because
would be really
in iRacing,
appropriate right now.
in iRacing, if you put a wheel on the grass, if you go a little bit wide, you'll get an X, which is a warning, effectively. And it's very easy to do that. So getting 0x is really hard to do in a race situation, because you're pushing as hard as you can. So it's very easy to make mistakes. And it's very easy to lose control of the car. And it's very easy to go wide here and there. But managing to get a 0x race under my belt, I'm super happy about that, because consistency is something I do struggle with. especially with disability. It's sometimes, I'll be driving and then all of a sudden my arm will spasm, or I'll have a moment where I'll lose feeling in my right arm or my leg or something like that. And that's something you just get used to. There was a stage in this race where I lost feeling in my left leg, which is not good because I left foot brake. So, that made it a little bit trickier. So switched to the right foot for a couple of laps and then it was all fine. Lap consistency was pretty good as well. I was managing decent lap times and I was pretty much consistently setting about a 1:37, I think it was. So I was consistently setting good lap times, and that was key for this race. So, again, just keeping the car consistent and clean is really the biggest bit of advice I can give to somebody. And in something like the skip barbers as well, if you're looking to get into iRacing and looking to race sort of in sim racing online, is, first of all, don't worry about winning. Don't worry about doing well and getting good results. I know that sounds kind of silly, but focus on consistency first, and then those other things will come to you. Wins and decent results will come to you if you can manage to get consistent laps around a place. Now, I will say Road America is one of the places where I'm not strong at. It's a track that I'm not great at. It's not my favourite track, and it is a track that I've tended to struggle at in the past. I've never been good at this next section. So this corner here I've always struggled with. You can see my back end stepping out, because it is a heavy braking zone. I found actually just, I wonder if I can see it here. So just watching the throttle here, I've actually found just keeping a little bit of throttle on the exit of the corner has been a really good way to get this car working. It's a similar driving style to Schumacher. So, obviously if it works for Michael Schumacher, that might be a good thing to take off. But I've found with the skip barbers, something that's really helped re-stability is just on the exit of the corner. You'll see as we get down towards Canada corner here. And what I was talking about with lap times, once I got into the bed, look, 2:38, 2:38, 2:37, 2:37, 2:37, 2:37, 2:38, and then my last lap was a little bit slower because I was taking it a bit easy. But keeping relatively consistent in lap times, and you can see those lap times all very consistent. Lap 8 was an absolute scorcher. I think that was actually faster than my qualifying time. Yeah. So, I would have been happy if I managed to do that in qualifying. But just through this corner here, we're just going to rewind a tiny bit. And you can see there's an accident actually happening behind us here as somebody makes an overtake. Let's just go back and have a little look at that for a moment. So, you can see here that this guy in the red car, Areola, ooh, okay, here has gone for the overtake, gone for the outside here. The guy on the inside's lost the rear end and just gone straight into him. And that's something you've got to be careful of, is overtaking in a place like that, is this guy here, he's trying to take a tighter line than usual. He's put the brakes on and all of a sudden that back end stepped out, he's lost the rear, and that's launched the number 6 right over him. So that's something you've got to be really, really careful of when you're driving and trying to make the overtakes, is you want to try and make a clean overtake so not to have that happen. Anyway, let's jump back towards me. So, getting into Canada corner here, just off throttle, putting the brakes on, and then just in the mid corner here, just getting back on the accelerator. I've sort of found just keeping that accelerator pressed almost works out well. Just keeping that little bit of momentum in the rear of the tyres. So it just keeps the rear end just that little bit more settled. And especially for these cars, because they are a slightly more classic style of racing, it works very well for it. So I have found with the skippies that is a really good way of actually getting it to work. So let's jump forwards in time to lap 38. Sorry, not lap 38, lap 8, sorry. So we'll just skip back a tiny bit. And we'll go on board for this lap. So let's go to the gyro. So this is my fastest lap. So we're comfortably in P2 at the moment. Up in front of us is the guy in the lead. And I'm getting comfortable with the car right now. So this is a big thing, is comfort is a big thing. So I'll actually keep the overlay up so we can see the throttle and the brake pedal a little bit. I wish I could just select certain bits to show, but we'll keep up everything just so we can see. So coming into the first corner here, on the brakes nicely, get back on the accelerator, get the car under control, and it just slips through nicely when you do that. And that throttle control is really important. Into turns 3 and 4 here again, you can see I'm constantly on the throttle, and it just keeps that car nice and turned into the corner. It just stops it from getting that little bit leery out of the corner. So off we go towards... off we go down towards the turns 5. So again, into the corner, onto the accelerator, just keeps it nice and settled. Nice bit of exit there, but not too much. Up towards the corner, but I always struggle with turn 6. So again, brake and accelerate mid-corner, and it gets us through nice and tight. So, in we go again, and on the accelerator, you can see now tyres are actually warmed up. So, tyres are up to temperature, so we don't have to worry too much about the rear slipping so much, because when the tyres are cool, the back end really steps out, and it is very much, we can sort of almost keep on it. So a little bit of a lift here coming into the carousel, and we're pretty much able to keep it flat through here now, because of the tyre warmth. The only reason I'm doing a little bit of a lift is just because I don't want to lose position. Into the kink, and again, just a little bit of a lift, although you can absolutely keep it flat through that section now. The car is very much up to temperature, and it's very much going to be working how you want it to work. So down to Canada corner, braking nicely for it, not full on the brakes, you just want to keep a little bit in reserve there, and back on the accelerator just to get that back end nice and settled for us. And up through the twisty bits of 13 and 13A, and then the final corner, and we're going to get a little bit of slipstream here up the front straight. Now that's going to help us a little bit, and that will give us a nice position. And you'll notice me just lifting off the accelerator there. That's just for the gear changes, just because I find, you know, if you keep your foot flatly on there, you can use the clutch. I prefer just lifting off the pedal a little bit, and that tends to work well for me. So let's go through the final couple of laps, and we'll jump back to the TV cameras as we pass the lapped car, and he's very nice to us, let us past without too much issue there at all. So thank you very much to him.
You're welcome, man.
So, final couple of laps around Elkhart Lake, and this is where the nerves start kicking in all honesty, because when you're sitting in P2, you start to think, I've got a good chance of a good result here. Oh, I don't want that, because you start to overthink it. So you've just got to clear your head a little bit in these moments, in these circumstances. You've just got to basically take a bit of a deep breath and just clear your head a little bit. And it's the psychological part of racing that few people remember, is that, you know, you have to keep your momentum and keep your brain there as well. You can't just ease off and let it slip. You need to keep thinking, you need to keep on it, you need to keep focused. And that's one of the hardest things to do in a race, is because you, especially if it's a lonely race where you're out front by a fair amount, if you've got a decent gap, you can lose that focus a little bit. And it happens to the best drivers out there. You know, I mean, famously, Senna at Monaco in the 80s, you know, 87, 88? I can't remember which year it was exactly, but of course, you know, just set his best qualifying lap of all time, and was out in the lead by, what, almost a lap or so, makes a big mistake. And right here, we'll just go back a little bit to the leader, because Mark Terez Escalona here makes that mistake. So we'll jump on the gyro. So coming into the kink here, he's come through and just held a little bit too much speed, and that back end stepped out, and around he goes into the wall, damages the front wing. So that has put a lot of damage on this car. And when you lose that front wing, you're going to lose the front aero, and that's going to cause a lot of problems. This guy was very quick. As I've said, this guy was a second a lap faster than me. Last lap, 2:36.3. If we jump back to me, 2:37, and that was my best lap, remember. So this guy is much faster. So let's go for a ride on board. Now he's made that mistake. So I've seen on my timing screen, the leader's made a mistake. My crew chief's come up and said the leader's made a mistake. And I don't know how hard this guy's going to battle now, because this guy obviously wants to win. Everybody wants to win. But if you don't know a driver, you don't know how hard they're going to race. And in a race like this, you can see he's blinking a little bit as well. You've got to be a little bit careful. So I'm trying to think of the best place to make a move. He makes another mistake on the exit of the corner, and this is going to give me a great chance. I jump into the toe, so I jump into the slipstream right here. Up the front straight. Use that to my advantage, get a good sun shot right here. We're just going to jump back to the TV camera. And you can see his front wing's damaged, so that's going to hurt him through the corners. White flag is out, so we've got 1 lap remaining. We're on our final lap right here. So I should be able to hold the speed through the corners. Despite this guy being much faster than me, I should be that little bit faster. But I've got to be careful, because he's going to get a slipstream down the front, down this back straight, down the moraine sweep right here. So I need to make a good exit out this corner. I do. Glance my mirror, and you can see how close he's going to get here. So the big thing is how hard is this guy going to fight? Now, he's got some damage on that car, so it's going to be harder. Got front wing damage, so that means he's going to be got less front grip for the corners. So just got to hope that he doesn't make a lunge. And I just go on the defensive line here, take a slightly tighter corner there, just to make sure he can't make a lunge, and luckily he doesn't. Coming up over the hill here, again, just keeping that tight line, just keeping an eye behind us, and he is definitely trying. He is going for it right now, and you know, as I said, this guy, Mark, was much faster than me. You know, definitely faster than me. And he is still trying, but that front damage is too much, and he makes another mistake. And at this moment, I breathe a big sigh of relief, because I know that I'm going to be safe-ish. The only thing standing between me and victory right now is this lapped car up ahead of us. This Jordan-esque inspired car, which has got some front wing damage to it as well. And we're getting to a point just before the Canada corner where this is a straight that's not really a straight, and I don't know how this guy's going to react to me passing him. So I get past before Canada corner, I get in front of him, I'm just keeping my eyes in the mirror and just watching for him, really. And I see it gets a little bit leery, but I take a sigh of relief right here because I know I've made it, and I just have to keep it on the road now. I'd say thank you. Honestly, could have been a little bit nicer to let me past, but did let me past in a good way. And we get through. It's just this final corner to go now, and up the hill we go. And it is a win today for us in car number 11 in the bottom split of Skip Barber series. It very much was the bottom split. But
so
we get
sorry,
the checkered
Mark.
flag.
It looked like you were having a great run out there. Sorry
Big shout out to
about
Mark.
showing
He
about
actually
the
sent me a message
off
after the
there.
race congratulating me.
Yeah,
He said,
I got the
"Look,
win.
your
Thank you all."
consistency was key. Look, you did a great job of keeping it on track. I made the mistake. It was my own fault." And I said to him, "Look, you should have won that race. You know, you were much better than me. You were much faster than me. But at the end of the day, it was just keeping that car consistent that did it. And the 0X's made it. And that was a win for me. I think it's like my third win in iRacing. I'm trying to actually remember now, like how many wins I have. Just go to my stats now.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Road.
Honestly, I think you deserved it more. You were much
In
faster.
road, I've got 3 wins. There we go. Yeah, 3 wins
Good race,
overall.
guys.
And yeah, I was just, it was just one of those moments where I was just in a bit of shock, because it's very cool to have that, and to get that win was a huge boon for me. And I had a bit of a shocker this year. My iRating went from 1,000 down to about 840, and at the beginning of this race I was sitting at 859. At the end of the race I was sitting at 968, so my iRating is going up, thankfully. But my third win in the Road Series, I've got 2 wins, I think, in the Mazda MX-5 series. But to get it on the Sunday night, and for Sunday Night Lights as well, it was an incredibly good feeling. Because, yeah, it was just a very cool feeling. Like, I must admit, because you get the best drivers out there at this time, and I was not expecting to get a victory in this one. So, yeah, a win in the Skippy for me. So this season I've got a P4 and a win so far, so it's not doing too badly. I would have been super happy with a podium, but I'm even happier with a win, what can I say? And hopefully that I can continue with this, and I'm going to be trying to race every Sunday night now, and just keep it going, really, that's it. And look, that's the thing, is if you want to get into sim racing and stuff like that, just keep consistency, just keep it going, and just focus on yourself, don't focus on everybody else, because that's the problem that most people make, is they focus on how fast other people are compared to them, and they push too hard. If you focus on your own driving, you will get better by proxy, and you will improve. And that's the thing, is you've just got to keep focusing on yourself. So, as of this standing, my iRating is at 968, my safety rating is at 388, so I've almost actually got to Class B with my safety rating, at least, in road. My overall safety rating is a 3.5, so, safety rating wise I'm not too bad. Safety rating tends to be something I'm good at, but it's just those decent wins, that's the hard thing, and the decent results, they come a bit hard. I think it's my second win of the year, because I got that win in the Late Model Dirt series, just out of nowhere. But this is definitely one of my proper wins, and the iRating, as I said, there was a lot of good drivers out there. That everybody, as I said, being the 11th lowest iRating out there, you sort of feel a little bit scared sometimes. I mean, the guys, like number 1 was around about 1,100 iRating, so quite a bit higher than me. So you sort of feel like, I don't have much chance in this race, but just never give up. You just got to keep pushing. Qualifying is something that you need to really look for in a series like this, because if you get a good qualifying, and if you can qualify towards the front of the field, you're going to have a much better run, because you're going to keep out of accidents. It's just avoiding accidents, that's the key for it. And look, it's just keeping an eye on everybody else, and that's the main thing. Alright, look, I hope you enjoyed this one. It's something a bit different. I thought I'd give it a try. If you did, let me know. Let me know how terrible my driving is as well. I'm sure I'll get a lot of people saying, oh my god, you suck, you're hopeless, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. And absolutely, I will happily take on your feedback, because I do need to improve my speed a bit. But, as I said to you in general, just don't worry too much about your own speed. Concentrate on getting the laps right, rather than your speed, and eventually it will get there, because you will just improve that little bit as time goes on. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye bye.